Hey guys, how's it going? It's that Blue Abarth here, and welcome back to another video. So, today's video might be a little bit familiar, and that's mainly because we have done this one before. But today, there's going to be some changes, because the original one, I just wasn't very happy with. There were so many mistakes, there wasn't enough information provided, and overall, I just didn't think it was very good. But that's why I'm here today, to make a better version, so you guys can get all the information you need on this particular topic. But what exactly are we going to be doing? What are we remastering or making a version 2 of? Well, let me give you a little introduction. So buying an Abarth can be very tricky. I know this myself from experience because it took me ages to find mine. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. The biggest one really is choosing which one you actually want. And then on top of that, all the little bits and pieces that you want with the car as well. I mean, there's the regular 595 range, and then there's the special ones, and then there's the 695s. Ooh, there's a lot to choose from. And then, like I said, you have to choose wheels, exhaust, exterior bits, interior bits, and the horsepower that you want. So there's a lot that goes into buying an Abarth really, and it can be very tricky. But that's why I'm here today, to make that process a lot easier for you guys, and go through which Abarth to buy and why. So, without any further ado, how about we get started? So, like I said, there's going to be many changes to today's video, and I think the biggest one is the one you can already notice, and that is hands-free recording. And that's right guys, I've finally got myself a tripod, and well, I wish I could have learnt magic earlier on and just made the phone levitate in front of you. Woo, because that would have been great. But finally, we've got something that I can set my phone up and finally just walk around the screen without any camera shake at all. And that's going to be the main big improvement really, no camera shake. I mean, of course, it is windy, so there might be a tiny bit of camera shake when it's on the tripod, but as long as it doesn't fall over, then we're all good. And just like that, I didn't even have to touch the phone to start the video because of this cool little gizmo right here. I can literally stop and start whenever I want without even having to touch the screen. Oh, that is so cool. I'm really going to love recording videos like this from now on. But cool little gizmos out of the way, let's start with the front of the car. So the front of the Abarth has a lot to offer. I mean, there's so much going on. There's a lot of style, shapes and angles that really make up the front, and it just looks so good in my opinion. It's aggressive, it looks awesome, and overall I think it's one of my favourite hot hatch front ends because it just looks so menacing. Now, out the 3 models that you can buy, the TJ, the Turismo and the Competizione, regardless of what model you go for, you're getting all of this, which is pretty awesome. I mean, all of this standard, that's pretty great. I mean, I absolutely love looking at the front of this car, or any angle of this car really. So getting this standard, like I said, is pretty awesome. Now, how about we go into detail onto some of the things that you can get on the front. And let's start off with the lights. Now, the lights on this car are pretty awesome, regardless of which one you go for, either the normal LEDs, which are on this and the Turismo, or the Xenons, which come on the Competizione. And let me just get this out of the way there. It's really distracting me actually. Like I said, it's very windy today, so don't expect my hair to look very nice for long. But yeah, so these are really good lights, and let me tell you why. Now, whenever you turn them on, they just light up the whole road, and they are so good. It really improves your visibility when you're doing a late night drive, and that's great. I mean, safety on the road is very important, and let me tell you, these do the trick very well. They're the dog's biscuits, or something like that anyway, but they are really good. That sign, 10 mile down the road, it's lit up. It's fantastic, and they're bright enough to the point where they don't blind drivers and you can see everything in front of you, which is fan-dabby-doozy. Now, like I said, the Xenons come on the Competizione, and they sort of provide a bit more light. There's also like a blue tinge to them on the front as well, which is kind of cool. I'm not particularly sure what the benefits are to Xenons. I'll ask my dad when doing the editing, but I imagine there are some benefits that come with them as opposed to regular car LED lights. But hey, we'll see. There'll obviously be text at the top of the screen explaining the benefits, but for now, those are pretty much the 2 that you can get on the models, normal LEDs and Xenons. They're very good indeed. Coming to the middle of the car here, as we can see, like I said, we've got many nice angles and many aggressive styling to the front as well. I don't think that made sense, but pretty much it's very nice. So starting off with these lovely whiskers, we've got them in a very sharp style, which looks great. Of course, we've got the Abarth badge too, which looks fantastic. It can't be, oh, falling over there, guys. What's going on? The wind is that powerful. But yeah, Abarth badge looks great. Got to have it on the front there. I think it looks awesome. I went for black as well with these whiskers because I think that's the most aggressive looking for the front of this car. It really complements the rest of it as well, and I just think black looks really, really good. You can get it in chrome as well, and even in some cases matte grey, but that does appear on the Competizione and higher models like the 695. So if you want matte grey on a Turismo, then sadly you can't get it unless you paint it. I'm being absolutely battered by the wind here, guys. I might have to kneel down. I think that's a lot better. There we go. So yeah, pretty much chrome, black or matte grey are the only colours that you can get for the whiskers on the front of the car, unless you paint them any other colour that you want. But I think black is probably the best for the car, especially with the rest of the accents as well. I think black really, really does the job on making the front look properly aggressive and really, really good. So in my opinion, I would go black for sure, because usually around 80% of the time it's chrome. I had to change it, but of course it's whatever your preference is. If you want chrome, go for it. If you want black, definitely do it. So coming to the vent here that does vent, you love it, guys. I love it. You gotta love it. A vent that vents, good stuff. But that isn't the only vent on the front of the car. We also have some cutouts around the badge here which also vent as well, and of course the massive vent on the front of the grille with another goodie on the front of it too. We'll get back to that in a minute. But yeah, so we've got this awesome vent here which looks great. Some people do decide to colour in these three little bits here, but personally I kind of like them black. I mean, you can do Italian colours or you can do them white or whatever colour you want really, but I do think black looks the best because it kind of keeps that OEM stock appearance and just keeps it clean to me, I think. Coming a little bit further down here to the really awesome splitter, and I absolutely love the splitter on this car. I think it looks fantastic. We've got this sharp styling going all the way across the front, and we also have this little black piece underneath it as well, which a lot of people do colour as well. Personally, again, I've kept it black because I think it really looks good on the front. I think it looks smart and it just looks clean as well. But if I were to colour it and change the colour of this piece here, then I'd probably go white. If I was going for a yellow theme, then yellow. But of course, like I said, it's preference. For me, I've kept it black. But I think that looks really, really good. I love the way it's two pieces and it just looks really, really aggressive. It really helps with the mental styling on the front here. I really do love it. And of course, like I said, coming to the goodie here, and that is the text. The text looks so, so good. It's just super awesome to have that on the front of this car. And I don't think many cars actually have the name of their brand on the front or anywhere really, unless it's the badge. But this is super, super awesome. The way it actually creates the brand's name using the grille itself is so, so cool. Now, a lot of the time, probably 90% of Abarths that you see for sale will have black text because that is the stock appearance. It will just be black and it does look good, but you can't really see it, and that's a problem. You want this to stand out so the front of the car has a bit of life, a bit of character to it. And all it takes is literally 10 minutes, some paint markers, and that's it. You're all good. Actually, talking of paint markers, let me go get them. Give me a second. All right, and I'm back, and I've just got the paint markers in question, and these are the Toma paint markers. Definitely the best out of all of them, and I must say, they last for ages. I mean, I've had this on for, I don't know, about a year and 8 months, I want to say, and literally, I've not had to top it up once. Like, it's incredible. I don't know how it's lasted this long through all of the seasons as well. It's 100% intact still, which is great. But yeah, so definitely would recommend getting this coloured in because it looks really, really good when it's finished. But if you want to keep it black, no problem. So, moving on to the side, because that's where stuff starts to change. So then, coming onto the side profile here, and this is where, like I said, stuff starts to change. There's a lot more options available for you to pick from. Now, starting off with the actual profile itself, as you can see, it's sleek, it's sharp, and it looks really, really good. I think it's one of my favourite side profiles on a car to date. I mean, obviously there's many, many cars that I love the side of, there's just something about this that really screams hot hatch to me. I don't know why. It really appeals to the inner child in me. I mean, usually when I used to draw cars as a kid, this is what it would look like. A really, really sleek wing, nice profile, sporty wheels, a stripe on the side. I mean, that's just how it used to go. And now I've got the real thing. So it's pretty awesome. Now, what exactly are the changes? Let's start off with the stripe, because the stripe is a little bit of a weird one, really. It's sort of 50-50. You can either get the stripe on the car or you don't. It's a bit weird, really. I mean, you would think that every Abarth model available would have the stripe on it as standard, but for some reason, some of them don't come with it, which is fine. I mean, some people like it that way. Personally, for me, I love a good stripe on an Abarth. It really gives it that character, and it livens up the side of the car, I think. I mean, just look at it. White stripe on blue paint, it looks really nice. And I mean, the way it fades into the back there by splitting itself into a few more pieces is really, really cool. I think it just gives it a bit of personality, and I really, really love it. But like I said, some people don't like it, which is fair enough. You know, it is preference at the end of the day. But what models come with the stripe? Now, that's pretty much every model available, whether it be T-Jet, the Turismo, and the Competizione, or any of the other special editions. They all come with stripes, usually, but sometimes they might not, which is fine. 40 quid, Amazon, an hour of your time, and you've got a lovely looking stripe on your car. And that's all you've got to do. Now, what other changes are there? Well, let's get a little bit closer to the wheels. So, coming to the wheels now, and there are so many to choose from. I can't even think of a number off the top of my head to actually tell you how many there are. But that's fine. It means you get to find and choose the perfect wheel for your new Abarth. The only downside is that certain wheels come on certain models, which is a bit of a bummer, because then that means you have to cough up a little bit more money for that wheel that you want, because it's on the higher up model. But that's alright, because I think all the wheels on any of the models are absolutely awesome. I mean, these ones are the T-Jet wheels, and they look really, really good. I mean, they've got a properly nice, sporty look to them, and I love the little grooves and styling and all the actual shaping. It looks fantastic, and in my opinion, this is the wheel to go for if you buy a T-Jet. There are another set of wheels that you can get as well, but I'm not too fond of them. I think they make the car look a little bit too basic. I mean, the T-Jet is the standard model, so you do get quite a fair bit amount of stuff on it, but obviously not as much compared to the Competizione. But I think the other set, which I'll put on screen, just don't look very good. It makes it look a bit too bland. So if you're going for a T-Jet model, these are the ones to go for, because it really lifts the car and makes it look more than it actually is. And they're really cheap too. So if you do curb them up or they are damaged, they're cheap to replace. And look at them like this. I mean, matte black, fully Scorpion as well. They just look properly nice. Kind of reminds me of a Porsche Sentinel, which is awesome. Now, coming to the Turismo, it only has one specific wheel, and that is the 5-spoke diamond cut wheel, and they are very nice indeed. It really makes the car look a bit more elegant in a way, a bit more luxurious, and I'm pretty sure that's the only one you can get on the Turismo. You can correct me if I am wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the only one, because that's the only wheel I have seen on the Series 4. Funnily enough, on the Series 3 models, these ones were the most popular ones that you could get. They came on every model available, even the Competizione, which is a little bit weird. But the Series 4s nowadays only have specific wheels, which is fine, because they all look fantastic. And that brings me on to the Competizione, because that has some really, really fantastic wheels. It has SS wheels, Monte Carlos, which are pretty much available on the newer ones. You also get the diamond cut ones with the triangles, and I think that's it. They look really, really good in my opinion, and I think the comp wheels are probably the best to go for, but of course, all of them look great. Now, the Competizione wheels are a bit more expensive because they are the higher up models wheels, but if you do want to buy a pair, then they're probably going to be, let's have a look, probably £600 for a full set. With or without tyres, I don't know. With tyres, maybe 700, without 600. Depends if they're being sold used or new. But with these ones, they're probably like 250 to 400 quid with tyres. So it's a bargain. But if you do want nice wheels, then go for the higher up models like the Turismo or the Competizione. But these ones, I'd say, are just as good. Now, if we're talking about tyres, there are only two that you can get, that being the P0 Nero and the Michelin Pilot Sports. In my opinion, I think the P0 Neros are the best because the grip in them are fantastic and it really makes it a sports car. Because believe me, when having a bit of fun in this, there's literally no play at all. It sticks to the road, it accelerates like a mad thing, no problems at all, and overall they just really blend well with the whole sporty package and make this car perform like a mad thing really, really well. That's pretty much it for the wheel setup here. The brakes, however, they can change as well. Now, on the stock standard models, that being the T-Jet and the Turismo, you only get the stock calipers and brakes, which is fine. But for the Competizione, you get a really nice set of Brembo brakes, and whew, they're really good. I tested some out in the Competizione that I drove not too long ago, the black manual, which I'll put on the screen here. Really nice car, by the way. I think you should check that out. But yeah, they were really, really good. You could feel the stopping power, and you could feel that they were a lot more instant, I want to say, than these ones. But I definitely would not fault the stock brakes at all. The stopping power is fantastic, and literally, like I said, no fault at all. I cannot diss them or say anything negative because they're really, really good. It's a sports car at the end of the day, so stock brakes or Brembo brakes, they're going to be fantastic. Now, that's pretty much it really. The only thing left to say is colours. Now, for all of the wheels that you can get with the Abarth range, they pretty much only come in 3 or 4 colours, that being black, graphite grey, silver, and very, very rarely white. So you can get some nice colours to match your car or just give a bit of a combo. So whichever one you go for, getting a nice set of wheels. Now let's move on to the side profile again and chat about some other things that you could get on the Abarth. So then, now it's on to the badges. These badges are so cool. I love the addition of some emblems on the side of the car, especially where they are as well. They look super neat. But sometimes you might not actually get these badges at all. Some 595s might not come with these, but have a badge on the back. Some 695s don't even have any badges at all, which is very weird. They might just have this one, but no number underneath it. It's very strange. I don't know what's going on with the badges on these cars sometimes, but a lot of the special 595s will have a plaque on the back, like the Pista or the F595. But a lot of the regular 595 models will come with these on the side. And I love the little Italian lightning bolt going through it. So cool. The attention to detail on this car is just great. But yeah, so sometimes might not come with it, but a lot of the time it will. So coming to the rear end of the car here, and it's just crazy. There's so much going on. It looks mental and I love it. I mean, we've got the spoiler, the lights, the diffuser, and the crazy exhaust system. Now, not everything you see here is standard, which is a bit of a shame. But I will go through the things that would come on the car if you were to buy it stock. And speaking of stock things, let's talk about the spoiler, because you get this bad boy on any 595 that you purchase, which is awesome because it looks great. It's sleek, it's got lovely shaping to it, and when you stand at the side of the car, I imagine when we was doing the side profile a bit earlier, you could see how much it was sticking out. It is a super lovely looking spoiler. Now there is one other spoiler that you can get for the Abarth, and that comes on the most recent model, which is the 70th anniversary edition. It looks great, it's adjustable, so it moves around, which is pretty awesome, but it's £2,500. Eek! That's a bit of a heavy hitter on the wallet there. So I think I'll keep my wallet for display purposes only and stick with my awesome stock spoiler. Because would you really want to change it? I mean, it looks so great. You could add to it if you want by putting a little Maxton designed lip spoiler on it or anything like that. But I think stock, it looks great. Talking about things that look great stock, rear lights. Now, these rear lights are actually different to the ones on the 2015 below models because this is the Series 4 facelift. So a lot of things are actually different to the older model. And if you want to know all the differences between the Series 3 and Series 4, then I recommend going to check out that exact video because I go through all of the differences between the two and just chat about both models. So if you want to go see that, I'll put the thumbnail on the top right here so you can go look for it on the channel. And hey, give it a watch if you want because it's heavily appreciated, and then you get to know all of the changes between the two. But for now, all you got to know is that these are the Series 4 ones and they look great. I love that they're an outline and then you've got the paint in the middle. It looks fantastic and it really makes the car look a lot more modern. It's sick. Coming to the middle now, you have this lovely outline around the badge. And this badge is actually really, really nice. I got stumped there for a second. I just love looking at the Abarth badge. It looks so cool. And of course, the surrounding to it is really nice as well. So these two pieces here, the the boot handle I should say, with this little badge here, are the other two accents that can be changed on the car depending on the model. So these can both be chrome or they can be black if it's the competizione. So of course, depending on which model you get, they can be different colours. But for mine, they are black because I decided to change them to it because it looks really, really good, really mean, really good stuff. Coming to the lower half of the car now, I love the way the bonnet sticks out at the bottom of it. It looks really, really good. Of course, we've got the reflectors here and then the SIG diffuser, which I'll bring you in a little bit closer so you can see it more clearly. So, coming to the bottom of the car here, and this is where the best bits are because we've got this awesome diffuser along with the crazy exhaust as well. Now, like I said, the exhausts aren't standard and this is a straight pipe, but usually you would get a nice chrome back box exhaust that does sound really good as well. Now, I don't have any sound clips unfortunately of my stock exhaust, but if you want to go check out what it does sound like, then I recommend going to watch some other videos on YouTube so you can get a feel for what it did sound like. But of course, with a straight pipe, you know it's going to sound crazy. And there's so many videos on my channel. If you do want to check out some straight pipe goodness, I recommend you do because it sounds great. But coming back onto the diffuser here, I love the styling of it, the way we've got these little bits here, and of course this other piece as well, which can be white depending on if the owner has changed it to that, or if the model comes with different white accents. But this piece can be changed to different colours as well, which is really, really nice. But this diffuser, stock on any model, and you've got to love it. This, however, is not stock, and this is a little F1 style brake light here. And I actually did put this in myself, along with my dad as well. He's a proper one. He's a real one for that, I've got to say. But yeah, so we actually did implement this ourselves, and it looks really, really cool. I love the way it matches the back here with the little red accents on the lights, the reflectors, and then we've got this as well. It looks really, really cool, and I love it. And it wasn't that hard, actually. It wasn't that bad of a job. So, hey, put yourself one in there as well if you want. But usually it would come with some honeycomb mesh on the middle here. I did like it, but wasn't really a fan. I think this looks tons better. But yeah, so any of the models come with all of this. But of course you get the stock exhaust on the T-Jet and the Turismo, and the Competizione gets a Monza exhaust system, which sounds really, really good. I think the difference between the two is that the stock exhaust is more mechanical and the Monza has a bit more of a lovely roaring rasp to it, which is why I would recommend the Monza over the stock exhaust, or anything over the stock exhaust really, because it sounds good, but it just doesn't give this car enough character, because you should be able to hear this thing. It should sound like a thunderstorm, because, I mean, look at it. It looks mental, so it should sound mental. And it does, believe me. But it sounds good. Any exhaust you put on this, it still sounds fantastic. Still has that Abarth tone to it, but of course, turned up a notch. But yeah, overall, pretty much that's the back end. It's time to move on to the interior, because obviously that's where the best bits are. Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. Welcome to the interior of the 595. And well, it's a lovely place to be in. I mean, it's got all of the bits and bobs that make it feel both luxurious and sporty. And well, how about we get started with this very nice 4-inch screen. Now, this screen is actually standard to all of the Abarth 595 models, but it can be upgraded to a 7-inch screen depending if the owner did spec it. So you have to be a bit lucky to get it. But a lot of the time it will appear in the Competizione, and it's quite common to get it in there instead. But it can be in the T-Jet and the Turismo too. Actually, don't quote me on the T-Jet, but the Turismo, it can come in there sometimes. And it's very nice. It's got all of the bits that you need. And I have done a full in-depth review on this screen quite a while ago on the channel. So if you want to go check that out, then hey, please do. Heavily appreciated, as always. But it's a very good screen, has tons of features, and overall, I'd say it's really good. So even if you didn't have the 7-inch screen, I'd still think that this one is just as good. So you don't really have to worry about finding a 7-inch screen, because this one does the trick as well. The only thing it doesn't come with is navigation, which is fine. I mean, hey, I know these roads like the back of my hands, so I'm all good. I don't need navigation. But if you're going on a long trip, then I guess you kind of need it. But hey, Google Maps. Am I right? But yeah, so overall, really like the screen, really cool. Coming to the dashboard now, which is just lovely. Take a look at that. It's body colored as well. It looks super nice, and I just love it. Especially polished up as well. Looks really good. Of course, you've got the sport buttons and all that as well, with the 500 on the dash too. And you're a bit far away there, aren't you? How about I move you a bit closer so we can get a little bit more in depth to these nice bits and pieces. That's a bit better. So, taking a closer look at the interior now, and pretty much you've got a lot of nice stuff. Now, the AC panel here, this is an analog one, but it can be upgraded to a digital one on the higher up models or the later models. But funnily enough, it's kind of a luck of the draw, really. Sometimes it will come with a digital one and sometimes it doesn't. It just kind of depends if you get lucky or not. But I think analog is just as good, so you don't really have to worry about finding the digital one, because literally you can just change them all yourself and it's no problem. As for the gear stick, this is a nice thing indeed. Now, this isn't the standard one. This has been modified a little bit, but it's really nice. The gearbox on these cars are fantastic too, and all of them come with a very nice, let me just find it here for you guys. We get a very nice gear stick indeed. Now, this is quite a bulky leather one, and it can be a bit of a pain to shift with because it's quite heavy, so moving it around is a bit of a problem. But if you don't mind that, then driving it with this is fine. But I do like me a bit of a lighter gear stick, because then you can put it in gear a lot easier and you don't have to struggle with changing the gears. So I definitely recommend changing it for something a little bit lighter. As for the gear gator, as you can see, this is a Brid or Bride, however you want to say it. And this is the stock one. Now, this is also a nice leather shifter, which does appear on every single Abarth 595, but sometimes it can have coloured stitching. This one is just the regular black stitching, but it does look very nice indeed. But of course, I had to go for a bit of a modified one. Now, we do have the window switches here as well, which also look pretty cool. Bit of a weird place to have them, really. It's a bit of a unique place to have window switches, but I think they're quite cool. They're pretty practical. They're just there, so I don't mind them at all. Now, of course, we also have an awesome turbo gauge. I mean, you cannot have a turbocharged car without a turbo gauge. I mean, it just wouldn't make sense. And this is super awesome. I love watching this while I drive. I mean, when it moves, it's just super cool. I absolutely love it. It's got sport on it as well, and that lights up when you go in sport mode, and it's got all your little readings as well. Of course, I had to put a little Scorpion on it too. And we've got a little Joe as well, which sadly does not come as standard with any of the Abarths. He definitely should, but you can just plop him in if you want to from Halfords. All good. Now, I'm going to show you the wheel as well and the instrument cluster, but I'll move you outside and get a little bit closer so it's a lot easier to see. So, coming back to the traditional phone in hand method here, and as you can see, we've got a lovely looking steering wheel with nice chrome accents, lovely Abarth badge as well, and we've got some more chrome down here too. And overall, this steering wheel is absolutely lovely. I love the materials on it. It feels nice and it's easy to use when driving. It's a lovely thing indeed. Of course, you've got buttons on it as well because it is a modern car, so it has some tech in it. And then coming to the main tech, which is the instrument cluster. Now, this thing looks absolutely awesome. And if I just find my keys here, which are in my pocket, let me just get them out for you here. Stick the key in. As you can see, you get a lovely and awesome startup animation, and you get all of the different dials as well. If you put it in sport mode, you get a different animation and a whole new style as well. It's pretty awesome indeed. And of course, it turns off with on top. Oh, just give me a second, guys. All right, sorry about that, guys. I just got a call from the man, the myth, the legend himself, my dad, and I had to answer it. But Coming back to the car now, we have this lovely leather binnacle as well. I end up saying lovely in a lot of these videos, but that's just what it is. This car is lovely. We've got a really, really nice binnacle here, finished off in leather with the stitching as well. It's so, so nice. And yeah, that is pretty much it for the interior here, guys. So many nice little things added to it. And pretty much there's not much difference on the other models. On the Competizione, you do get a nice chrome shifter and carbon fiber on these little bits on the wheel as well, all the way to here too. So that's pretty much the only change. But there is one major change that I haven't mentioned yet, and that is the seats. Now these are the stock cloth seats that you get in the T-Jet, and they are very nice indeed. They do a good job of supporting you, and for everyday driving they're very comfortable. But on the Turismo, you can get leather versions of these, which look really, really nice indeed. Of course, you've got a Abarth in there as well, and that comes on the leather ones too, and they look really, really good. But on the Competizione, you get say belts, which, of course, are the best seats that you can get. I'd love a pair of say belts, but unfortunately, they are a bit much. They're like I don't know. They can be 1,200 quid, they can sometimes be £2,000. It just depends on who's selling them, if they're used or new, and yeah, it can be pretty pricey. So I would just recommend going with the seats that you have in the car, unless you go for Sparkos or, you know, Brid/Bride, whatever you want to say, those types of things. So there are seats that you can buy for the car, but I think the stock ones are just as good. I mean, they're comfortable, like I said. I mean, that is really, really nice. They support you well, and overall, quality of them is fantastic. So you don't really have to change them, but if you want to, you can, obviously. But stock ones are just as good, I'd have to say. And well, that is pretty much it for the interior of the car, guys. And well, I think that's pretty much going to wrap up the video too. Right, so I'm back to re-record the recommendations segment because I found out when editing this video that original clip decided to go very buggy indeed. I mean, there was just many problems with it. My voice was cutting out at certain parts and you just could not watch it because it started to just freak out. I mean, I did do a lot of recording that day, so I guess the phone started to bug out near to the end, which is fine because the actual outro segment is completely fine. So that's all good. I don't mind recording it again as well because there is some things that I want to mention that I did not talk about during the video. So we're going to start off actually with suspension. Now, as Abarthistes, I imagine we already know that the cars are quite bumpy, and that's fine because a lot of us have lived with these cars for quite some time now, so we kind of just learn to live with it. But if you're brand new to an Abarth and you want to jump in one, the thing you've got to know is that they can be very bumpy indeed. And that is down to the fact that the car wears very sporty suspension. It has McPherson's and it also has Coney parts, which combined together make great suspension. So the setup is fantastic, especially when driving it. It makes for a very firm, very almost tight, but a good tight experience. So if you are planning to take one on track or just to have a bit of fun in it, then the potential is there because there's no play, it feels firm, and overall it's just good to drive, especially when you're on the loud pedal. So driving this car does feel great with the suspension, but if you're dailying this thing, then it can be a bit of a problem because of the roads. I mean, if you live in France, then all good, because you have the smoothest roads available, so sporty suspension isn't a problem. But if you live in the UK or somewhere with bad roads, then you kind of got to learn to just avoid bad parts in the road, especially potholes, the nasty, the vicious potholes, because there can be a very big problem if you hit them, because it's like, badoof. So try to avoid them if you can. I mean, you shouldn't have to, but that's just how it is. But yeah, so all Abarths, especially the main 3595 models, wear that suspension setup, which overall, great for driving, but can be a bit of a bummer when dailying it. But like I said, if you get used to it, then it's completely fine. You just learn to set it aside and just drive the thing with no cares in the world. And that's great because, you know, you're starting to love your car. You kind of just put those negative points aside and you just drive it. So all good. Next thing I want to talk about is colours. Now, there are many colours you can choose for the Abarths, which is great, meaning you can satisfy your wants and needs. If you want a green one, all good. If you want a red, a black, a white one, there are so many to choose from, so you can get the perfect colour for your perfect Abarth. But there is one unique paint option that you can get with some of the models, and that is bicolours, which pretty much just means there's a colour on the top and a colour on the bottom, which is pretty awesome to see in real life. I have seen a few bicolour Abarths before, and they look really, really awesome, especially with all the different combinations. They can look really, really good. Now, bicolours are mainly common on the Turismo models because it's more of a, I don't know, I want to say a luxury option. It makes it look really, really good. So a lot of the time, if you do want a bicolour, it will appear on a Turismo model. But very occasionally you can get it on the Competizione as well. I think it's more common on the Series 3 than the Series 4 comps, but I think very rarely you can find them with it. The T-Jets, I don't even think you can get it on the T-Jet. I've never seen a bicolour T-Jet at all, so you might not be able to have it on there, but Turismo's for sure. Looks really, really good as well. You can get black on top, red on the bottom, or a lot of the time you can just get the main primary colours on the bottom and then an extra colour on the top of white, black, all that sort of stuff. Looks really, really good. Now, the next thing I want to talk about as well, and I think it's the last thing that I want to mention, and that is the roof, because some Abarths can have different roof options, and that is glass panoramic roofs that do open, convertible roofs, or just the regular hardtop roof. Now, most of the Abarth models, regardless of what the model is, will have one of those options. The T-Jets, it's more common to get the hard top roof, but you can get a glass pan, as very, very rarely you can get a cabriolet as well. But the Turismo and the Competizione are the more common models that will appear on, especially the convertible option. But you can get a glass pan on both of those as well. Very, very nice indeed. Can make for a great time, especially in the summer, to get the roof down or the glass pan open and enjoy the nice sunshine. But it's just as good to have an actual proper roof as well, because windows down, you're feeling the same effect. So all good. Now, it doesn't really cost that much extra to find an Abarth for sale with that type of option. Maybe the convertible might cost $1,000 more because it's on a Competizione or something like that, but you'll find the price point doesn't change as much with those options on the car. And that's pretty much it, really. The only other thing you've got to know is of the horsepower, because the Turismo and Competizione obviously have a Garrett installed, so it will give a bit more of a horsepower boost, especially with the exhaust as well being a Monza. Sometimes on the Turismo, you know, even with the stock exhaust, that turbo and all the other bits and bobs done to it will give it that horsepower boost, and will take it to 165 instead of the T-Jet's 145. And then the Competizione has 180. So that's the only big difference really between the three, and then of course its specification options as well. But that's pretty much it really. That's the only things I wanted to mention. Now it comes to my actual recommendation. Now, I absolutely recommend going for the T-Jet because it's the cheapest model you can get, and for good reason, because then you have options. You have tons of avenues to explore in terms of modifications. Now, if you want to have a fresh, clean T-Jet, then that's perfectly fine. You can pick one up for, I don't know, about £9,000 to £10,000, and then you can just have it clean, you know, polish it up, make the wheels look nice, and that's it, all good. But if you want to modify it, then you can do the same as well. Make it look nice and clean, and then put all the bits and bobs you want on it. And that's fantastic because you're not risking any of the expensive options. Because if you bought a Competizione, if you're getting Monza exhaust on it, the SS wheels, it's going to be hard and you're going to struggle to change because you might not want to. The wheels are so nice on the comp, and so is the exhaust. Meaning, do you really want to go through all that faff to change such nice options? But if you buy the T-Jet, then it doesn't matter, because then you have spares, and then you can put bowlers or whatever you want on. You put a straight pipe on it, you could put a Monza, whatever you want to do. So in terms of modifications, the T-Jet is the best one to go for. If you're wanting a luxury cruiser, the Turismo is the one to go for, because you get all the nice leather bits and bobs. You can get a pan or a convertible roof, and you can get some other nice things as well. So if you want that type of thing, the Turismo is the one to go for. If you're wanting a properly aggressive, full-on done-up Abarth, then the Comp is the one to go for. again, at the end of the day, it's what your preference is. But personally, I would recommend going for the T-Jet because it's the cheapest of the lot, it's the most affordable as well, and then you can do whatever you want without risking all the expensive bits and pieces. Plus, you can stage it, you can do whatever you want, and it's very easy to get it up to competizione power, so no problem at all. Now, for the roof, I would suggest getting the hardtop roof, because if you get a glass pan or a convertible, you're going to suffer from scuttle shake. So if you're, taking it on track or, having a bit of fun with it, then you're going to experience a bit of scuttle shake here and there, and the car won't feel as stable or as firm as it would with a proper roof. Now, of course, you are losing quite a bit of weight by having a convertible or having a glass pan, but there's not much in it really. So the difference might not be as dramatic as it would be, but either way, scuttle shake will be present if you get a lighter roof. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, especially if you're having a track car. You want a proper roof so then you can feel stable and firm on the track. Now, I'm going to go through a bunch of track things and stuff you should do to your Abarth if you're thinking of taking it on track in a later video, but for now, that's what I recommend. And that's pretty much it really. That's all of my recommendations that I want to make for today. And yeah, that's all I've got to say. So it's now time to cut to the original outro as well. So I'll see you later. So everyone, that's pretty much everything for today. That's all my recommendations, and that's the video pretty much wrapped up. Really hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed this new camera angle that we've got going on. Videos, they're not going to be the same from now on, that's for sure. I'm so stoked to get future videos recorded because it's just going to be so good. I mean, look at this, hands-free recording. It's so good. No more camera shake, or at least I hope not anyway. But it's definitely going to be an improvement, and I cannot wait to do more videos like this. I really hope you enjoyed it as well. And hey, if you want more content like this, you know what to do. Hit that bell, like, comment, and subscribe. All of that good stuff. And hey, I'll see you in the future, guys. Have a good one. I'm going to use this actually to end the video. This is pretty cool. See you later.